Hi everyone, how are you? I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I've missed you so much. I've missed these trainings so much. So we took 2 weeks off. The first week was like a self-care week, and then the second week we actually went sailing with some friends of ours down south, and now we're back in the game. And so today, being our first training back, I really wanted to come home with a topic that is close to my heart because it's what I have been working through lately. And it also has been a topic that has come up time and time again within the Rejuvenate program lately, and then 1111, and then also just questions that I've had from you guys as well. And I did an interview yesterday where I was asked some questions about this specifically, like how did I stay aligned when certain things were happening in my life. So I'm going to share a couple of those stories with you as well today. Yay! So as you're coming in, please just pop into the comments where you're coming in from, because we have quite a few new members in here. I want to give shout outs to our beautiful new members, and we are just so happy that you are here. And so if you're catching this training and it is your first training ever, we use a platform that is called StreamYard, and there's a little link above my head just to click that and allow StreamYard permission just to see your name, and then I'll be able to see your name pop up into the comments, because otherwise it just comes up as Facebook user, and I get so sad because I can't connect with you on the level that I want to if I don't know your name. So just popping into the comments where you are in the world, what are you doing right now, share with us. We all like to get to know you and get to know each other in here as well. And just knowing too that this is a safe space. We work really hard in here to make sure that this space is sacred and is safe for you to be able to open up, to get vulnerable, to, really do the work, do the inner work that we are here to do so that you can rise to the next level. Awesome. Good morning. So happy to see you guys as you're coming in. Just give StreamYard permission. If you don't want to give StreamYard permission, then maybe just pop your name into the comments so that I can send you a big warm welcome this morning as well. I'm super excited for today's topic. So we're just going to dive right in today. This topic has been coming up for me a lot. And so I know that it is something that is on all your minds as well, because we've had conversations around it. I've had questions around it, and I really want to dive in today. So this whole idea of us being aligned, like finding our alignment in life, it all sounds really great, doesn't it? Like, I would like to line up with that. Marissa, give me more of that. When it comes to manifestation, we're all about that. We definitely want to be able to hold ourselves, our physical bodies, our mind in a place, in a state that serves us. And we want to be able to do that consistently and like all the time so that we can continuously bring in our desires and bring in what we want. In saying that, it's not always easy, is it? Like, it sounds easy. If I meditate every day, if I do this breathing technique, everything's going to line up for me. And then shit happens. Like, shit happens around us, outside of us, in our family, with friends, with acquaintances, or just other people in general. And we can get kind of to a point where we pull back, where we no longer lean in. We don't want to lean into that energy, that situation. And so today I'm just going to share with you 5 ways that we can just help to hold you, help to really support you to keep going, to stay aligned, even in those moments where you might be feeling like really pulling back, and definitely not leaning into that discomfort as well. Yes, so much fun. Awesome. And so as I'm starting, I just would love for you guys to share, just pop into the comments, maybe one thing that is happening for you at the moment, or one thing that has happened recently where you've been tested with this, where maybe things were going quite well for a while, or maybe you were feeling like you've hit a place of alignment in your life, in your business, in your relationships, and then all of a sudden, bam, something happens that's outside of you and it shakes you, and it shakes your world, and it shakes your conditioned self into, playing small and pulling back and not stepping out as much. So go ahead and share that with us, just bringing awareness to it. And I'm going to help you to shift this today. Awesome. So great. Great, guys. Okay, so let's dive in. We all deal with these. This is the thing, right? We all deal with outside factors, things that happen outside of our control. The unknown sneaks in. And if you guys saw in my Facebook stories, we went for a beautiful sail down the islands. Looks like perfection, but I had to share with you, like, there were moments in that, even in that beautiful, perfect sailing vacation, where we, felt fear, nothing to do with the boat or the sailing, but to do with, we had to stop because one of us needed some medical attention. And so I had to make decisions, about my family member, and it was a challenging time. There were challenging moments, but did I let it shake what was happening? Did I let it shake the other elements, like the whole fact that we were down there? And did I let it shake my relationships and my way that I operate, the way that I deal with people? No, I didn't. I didn't let it shake those things. And so we all have experience, with these outside factors. We all feel frustrations. We all feel aggravated. We all get tied up in this lack of control, right? That our conditioned self loves to be in control of just everything in life. And so when things aren't going to the plan of the conditioned self, everything else can sometimes be shaken. So we all feel like we lose harmony within sometimes when these things happen outside of us or outside of our control. And quite often we also lose harmony in our relationships with others as well. So we need to find this new base, this new foundation, this new concrete, solidified grounding for us, where we can see things in a new light, where we can show up to these situations. So we're doing and handling and just being in these seemingly negative situations or these parts of our life very, very differently than the way the conditioned parts of us would normally operate. So we need to know how to take any situation in life and transform it into something that is freeing, something that really allows us the growth and expansion that it is there for, but without like fully shaking our world. So we need to know how to redirect all the shit. It's like redirecting, it's like rerouting, like when there's roadworks happening and you have a redirect sign that takes you elsewhere, we're literally gonna just redirect the shit when it hits the fan, and then continue with the actions that help us to live out our purpose, our dreams, and our passions. And there's so much freedom. Like, I have to tell you guys this from personal experience. There's so much freedom in knowing yourself and knowing your life so intimately that you can shift, transform, or create literally any situation. Like, you have the power to do that. And I want this for you more than anything. I really want this for you, and for you to really take ownership of that, and to really know that, and to know your power, and to be able to use your power in daily life as well. Yes. Hi, Sharon. How are you? Hi. Oh, Erin's on here. How are you? Erin is our beautiful friend, and she was with us too this week. Oh my goodness. I miss you. We miss you guys so much. So there's so much freedom, right, in just knowing your authentic self so intimately that you allow for the growth and expansion in your life without it kind of pulling in and dragging in that conditioned self so much that it disrupts everything else. So let's dive in. There are 5 ways that we do this within the Rejuvenate program, and this is just what I do within my own life as well. 5 ways that we can kind of just stay aligned even when shit's hitting the fan. It's kind of like being that wise, calm parent when your child is having a complete meltdown. So we're coming from this place of compassion many times to be like, okay, I see, I see what's going on here. I understand. The conditioned self is acting up, and that's okay. I can see why you're feeling that way, but we're just going to step over here and we're just going to stay, in our power. And so the first thing that we can do is to really take ownership of our conditioned self. And I know that in many teachings and in many areas of this type of personal growth and transformation, I have learned that the whatever you want to call it, the conditioned self, the ego, the mean girl, sometimes we kind of separate ourselves from it because it's easier that way. It's sometimes easier to see the conditioned self as though it's kind of not a part of you or not a part of your whole self. But what I really have found to be so powerful is to actually take ownership of those conditioned parts of me. And so these conditioned parts of us, or our conditioned self as we call it, it holds us captive in many, many ways. And it's a very, very organized and complex in its working. And so if we can take ownership of our conditioned self and say, hello, you are a huge part of me, and you show up in this, in these different ways in terms of different emotions that I might not want to feel, projections that I might not want to, be living in. But I understand, and I'm just going to bring a lot of compassion. And then we're actually going to take these different elements, these different parts, and we're going to heal them. So by taking ownership of our conditioned self, it gives us power. It allows us to have the power over our entire being, right? Over ourself and the way that we operate in daily life. So I just love this as number one, because if we can just take ownership and say, this conditioned self is not something that I want to push away. Although many times I do share with you that sometimes when my conditioned self is talking, I'm like, I see you, I hear you, but I'm just not going to listen to you right now. But as a whole, I want it here because I want to see it. I want to do the unveiling. I want to unravel. I want to disconnect so we can reconnect in terms of all these neural networks that are going on in my brain because of possibly things that have happened in my past. So I want to take ownership. I want to take my conditioned self under my authentic self wing and just be like, I understand where you're coming from, but let's look at this. Like, let's really lean in to this discomfort and have a look at what's going on here and begin to heal these different parts of you. And as you guys know, we do healing sessions. We've done breath work in here in the Rise group together. We've done the holistic breakthrough method in one of the workshops, in the one-day workshop. And so we're all about that. We're all about leaning into the discomfort that the conditioned self can sometimes bring up in order to release it, right? So that it's not on this continuous journey of sucking back in your face, exactly what it's been saying, like maybe on repeat for a long, long time. So that's one thing. That is the first thing. Yes, I miss you. I miss you. We all miss you. Oh my goodness. We had just such a lovely time with you. And so the second thing that we can do is to really understand that when things are not going our way, we're all in this together. So we are all on this planet together. We are all in this universe together. We are all energetically connected. And so understanding that other people are very likely also up-leveling. As you are doing your work, as you are going within and doing your own inner work, which you all are so good at showing up to do, other people around us may be going through stuff too, right? And so you guys have been with me like over the last 2-3 weeks. We've had like 2 emergency situations in our family. And over the last 2-3 months, we've had a volcanic eruption, a hurricane come through, and then, Ocean smashed his head open. And then, just recently on the sailing trip, we also had someone who needed emergency attention. So I understand, is what I'm saying, what it is like to witness all of this stuff out of your control, and then also to maybe be on your own personal growth journey, but seeing things happening to people around you that are also outside of your control, and you want to lean in and you want to help, but we don't want to get so caught in that nobody comes out. We want to understand that we're all in this together, and maybe this is all part of the up level for all of us as well. So just to touch on that, understanding that others around us might be up leveling too. I've had a few conversations with you guys lately just about like, what do you do when other people are like actually projecting their stuff onto you? So it's one thing having people who you really care about just going through like a hard time and you want to be there with them. But let's talk about having people outside of you, maybe even just random people, like projecting their stuff onto you. And so just the power in holding ourselves in alignment, and how we can do that by understanding that others are up leveling too. So what can be really helpful is actually just stepping back from, that person or those people, and actually keeping your container, like keeping your cup full, keeping your container solid, and staying in your power so that they can rise to meet you, rather than us kind of leaning into that. And then we also sort of fall into that level or that vibration. So I have a little story for you guys. I was once living in a house similar to this, I guess, where we had a balcony, and our neighbors like next door were kind of just over the other side of the balcony. And we had a very strained relationship with these people for some time, and strained just in that we had never really meshed. Like I had tried, like I felt like I tried. And the other people living in the house at the time, they felt like they had also tried, and nothing really worked out. And what we ended up doing, and it was just by accident, right? We used to sit on the balcony and we used to love doing Wayne Dyer's meditation. Have you guys tried that before? It's Wayne Dyer. You just type it into YouTube, Wayne Dyer's meditation. And I think he calls it maybe a manifestation manifestation meditation or something like that. And so we used to love doing this meditation, and we would visualize, what our life is going to be like, and do this meditation. And so what happened was we didn't even realize, but over time we had held ourselves in this vibration. We had held ourselves to showing up, to doing the work, to continuing down this path. And I didn't realize, but we kind of threw up on our neighbors. Like I didn't even really think about it at the time. But we laugh about it now. We're like, we kind of threw up on them, where there was no way that they weren't going to be affected by what we were doing. It is so powerful, the work that we do. It is so powerful showing up for yourself. It is so powerful doing your own manifestation work, bringing in, your own desires, that there is no way that the people around you are not going to be positively affected by that. And so we had this experience where we were doing this meditation for like 3 years or something like that. We've moved now, we're in a different place. But at the end of the 3 years, I just noticed this like drastic change had happened over those years. And, I was walking down the street one day, and I walked out of my house and walked down the street past my neighbors, and they were like, "Hi, how are you?" And it just dawned on me that the relationship had shifted so much. Now, maybe it was because we were showing up in this way. Maybe it was because we were showing up for ourselves so much and doing so much of the work that our interactions with them were actually different. Maybe we were saying different things, doing different things. Maybe they felt it. Maybe they felt the energy shifting. Have you guys ever had an experience like this where you held yourself in a certain light and the other people came to meet you rather than you falling down to try and work things out at this level? Let me know if you guys have ever felt that experience. But for us, it was like we joked about it. Like we threw up on them for like 3 years. Like, how could they not be affected by that, right? And so the message here is just, and this number 2 is just understanding that we are all in this together. So other people are also up leveling, and that by doing our own inner work and holding ourselves to that and in that, we can actually allow them to join us, to rise to meet us. And their authentic selves want to rise to meet us. And do you ever see and feel like people in a certain energy and you're just drawn to that? Like, this is an energetic connection. We have this connection with every single person on this planet. So why wouldn't it be this way? It makes sense that it is this way. And you guys have the power to do this, to hold yourself in this light and to bring others with you as you go. And so in doing this, we can also, as we feel others are affecting us negatively, we can also use this beautiful process that we use in the Rejuvenate program of forgiving and releasing others as well. So where we allow ourselves to process the pain and we can neutralize any energy, that has been stuck or that has been free flowing, and we can forgive and release the situation at hand so that it is no longer affecting us as we move forward. So it's no longer then in that conditioned self kind of bubble that is going to affect us in the future as well. And so the number 3 is just flows on from this, is just, what is the energy that you are holding, right? What is the energy that you're holding? So when the shit hits the fan and the shit's everywhere, where is your energy? Is it flying out to meet the shit? Or are you able to hold yourself here so that you're not affected as much by that? And the whole purpose of today is to give you some techniques and some tools for you to be able to do that, to really keep holding yourself in this alignment no matter what goes on around you. Hi, I'm seeing a couple more people coming in here. How are you guys doing today? Go ahead and just pop into the comments where you are in the world. So I had an interview yesterday. I was interviewed by one of my coaches, and I was asked why. Oh yeah, so for you guys that maybe don't know, we had our best business month ever this month. The month isn't over yet, but so there was a lot of celebration in that, but I was asked a question why was this your best business month ever? Why? What do you think happened? What do you think has changed in terms of you being able to now transition to this level, as opposed to a level that you were operating in, before? And the difference is that I'm able to hold myself to a vibration. I can hold myself in a vibration. And I don't mean that I'm here all the time in joy and, I'm never in anxiety and I'm never in fear. That's not true at all. Erin can vouch for that. When we were on the boat, we had an incident where I had to, take care of one of my family members, and Erin was there, and Erin, saw me almost in tears. And I feel it's important that we feel. But I hold myself to coming back, right? I hold myself to coming back to that vibration. So for the whole time, and it goes when Ocean's head was hurt too, it goes for when the hurricane came through, it goes for when the volcano erupted, my thought processes are wow, this is really shit. And immediately a thought interruption technique, and I immediately move over. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so happy that this person is in full form, greatest health, amazing, spirit. I'm so grateful, thankful, and happy that, this country is safe, that the people are doing well, that whatever it is that I need to happen, I'm holding myself to that. I'm holding myself to that. And so you guys can use that. You can use this little technique. It's just a little thought interruption technique that I actually gave one of my clients this morning in the 6-month program to do. But it is like how you are showing up in your authentic self. How are you coming back to your authentic self is the question. I don't need to know how long you're staying there. I mean, it's great. We need to hold a vibration for a certain length of time to be able to bring in the beliefs that we want to bring in, the desires that we want to bring in. We need to sever certain belief patterns and bring in new beliefs. Absolutely. But can we just hold ourselves to keep coming back? And can that be enough? And quite often it is. And so the only difference, I think, in me doing my best business month ever to not doing that is just that I've been holding myself more consistently to that vibration, to bringing in what I want to bring in. So I'm thinking less and less and less about the thing that didn't arrive, or the thing that isn't here, or the thing that's never been here, or the thing that is impossible. And I'm holding myself to the possibility, the mere possibility that this thing may happen. And that's all. That's all the difference is. And then just not staring at the shit for too long, right? Stare at the shit. I mean, look at the shit. It's everywhere. It hit the fan. Oh gosh, my imagination is very vivid. But let's look at how you're showing up to bring yourself back, right? Because that is where the creation is happening. So let's identify some patterns maybe that are holding you back. So tell me some of them. Hello, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please give StreamYard permission as you're coming in so I can see your name as you are making comments, or just pop your name into the comments so that I can give you a big warm welcome as well. So let's have a look for you, right? What is a go-to or a default that you would usually shift into, whether it's a state, whether it is an emotion, whether it is a bunch of thoughts, when something happens that's outside of your control? Usually we have like one or two statements that we say to ourselves, right? So it could be, oh, this is happening again, or, oh my gosh, this is never going to work out because I'm just right back where I started again, or something like that. And that's kind of holding us then to this vibration of this is how it's going to be, right? And so we want to just open up to this idea that actually everything is possible. And something that my beautiful coach said yesterday is, from impossible to easy. Let's go from impossible to easy. And that's one thing when, she asked me how do you feel about everything that's happened in your business this month? And I said, it feels easy. It feels really easy because I've held myself in the space of the possibility of it happening for long enough. And I've brought myself back enough times that it is solid to become a reality. So I want this for you guys so, so much. So go ahead and just pop into the comments. What is one default? Like, what do you normally go to? Because for me, it would have been like, let's have a think. A situation where, so maybe the volcano erupted, or maybe, and I'm getting in this pattern where things are really working out well, like this and this, and I'm taking steps forward and all the magic is happening and amazing, and then bam, the volcano erupts. And so my default used to be, oh yeah, well, of course, I can't do any of this now because this has happened. And my new frame of thinking and my new belief system is I can do both. I can totally do both. Why can't I do both? And so for me, like, that's what held me in that state, in that what I've been able to keep coming back to. And so I want that for you. I want you to become aware of, like, what is your default? Why do you give up when A, B, or C happens? Or why do you stop why does everything have to stop when A, B, or C happens? And what are the thought processes around that? And then how can you actually just tweak that thought, shift that belief to make it possible, to make the impossible possible? To even believe, like, you can even say to yourself, I'm in process. I'm so grateful, thankful, and happy that I'm in process, that this thing may possibly come to me. Like, this may possibly happen. You don't have to be all in today. And that's something that we were talking about today in one of our sessions this morning as well. So let's take a look at how you show up in this area and what it creates for you. So what are you currently creating because of your default? Let's identify the patterns that are holding you back so we can shift them. And then number 4 is really understanding that you control the shit, right? Like really understanding that you control the shit. My husband was like, are you really going to say shit today? He's like, you never swear. And I was like, yeah, I'm really going to say shit because I really need to express this, right? Because this is how it feels. So there is potential for shit in every area of our life. But I have to say, very rarely do I ever actually experience the deep darkness of it. Very rarely do I get so caught up in it that it shifts my emotions to a point of no return. In my house, in my life, in my circles, we don't get consumed by these social conformities of how maybe we should react. And we don't get caught up in the actions or reactions of others. And when I say that, I don't mean that I don't feel frustrated. Like, for sure, feel it, feel the pain, feel the fear, feel the frustration. It's frustrating. It's freaking frustrating sometimes. But we want to stand above it all. And we want to intentionally come back to our power and operating from this level where we stand for, authenticity and integrity and forgiveness and love, ultimately love. That's the vibration that we are seeking. And so in doing that, like in understanding that we control the shit, understanding that it can happen and it can be out of our control, but we can very quickly shift, change, redesign what it looks like. And we can hold it in its highest light so that we're not getting consumed by it. And so you can do that using the mantra I just gave you, using the thought interruption techniques that I give you, using breath techniques that I gave you in the training. Maybe Becca, you could post that training in the comments for us today. What was it called? 5 breath techniques to get you through anything. Coming back to breath, remembering that our conditioned self is highly activated when we're not breathing, or when we're breathing really shallow, or when our posture is curled over. When we're in very stressful situations or things happen outside of our control, very often this is our default in our physical body as well. So we want to stand above it all, and intentionally standing above it all and holding yourself to your dreams and holding yourself accountable for your conditioned self as well, like really acknowledging your conditioned self to the point of being open to doing the healing so that you can let it go and free yourself up to have more fun and to feel more joy. And then the 5th one is that just being able to shift those underlying beliefs that I was just sharing with you. So remembering that default go-to doesn't always have to be your default go-to. It isn't always the one that's going to work, right? It's not always the one that's going to get you out of the path. So if your default is to go to that, kind of victim mentality, or if your default is to go to that, this is never going to work, or if your default is going to go to, for A, B, or C, whatever reason, this is not going to happen, then that may not be the pathway out. So just understanding that there may be underlying beliefs under those that need to be severed, that need to be shifted, and then things that need to be healed. So we're all wired to work very differently in seemingly negative situations, right? So sometimes when something happens outside of us, our first thoughts, our first reaction could just be an emotional response that is a trigger from our childhood or from a long time ago. And so if we're constantly operating on that default, we may constantly be operating from a fight-flight mode. And so they're not necessarily the ones that we want to go with. So we want to be conscious to be able to really shift those beliefs. And so that's why I ask you guys just to become really aware. Like, what is it? What are those beliefs? What are those thoughts? What is the default that you come back to time and time and time again? And then let's begin to just create a new story around that. So does anyone want to share one with us, like a default thought, a default emotion, or even just default actions, right, that can happen when seemingly negative experiences or situations are happening around us? Breathing is your way of healing. Yes. I've been consuming that from one person lately, thinking it was all me. Yes, exactly. Yay. Thank you, Jane. Hello, beautiful. I'm so happy that you are here too. Yes. Okay, so just having a look at comments. So good, guys. Yeah, okay, so we were talking about being people consuming that from one person lately, thinking it was all me. Thanks for posting the breath techniques. Yeah, and so sometimes our default is, even in social situations, our default could be, to hit up those same thoughts, right? Like, and creating a mantra around people, maybe. Like, it's not safe. Is it safe to be in social situations? It's not safe to be completely myself. It's not safe to be completely in my authentic self all the time. I'm not well received in that light, right? If people are projecting things onto you. But is it just their own up leveling? Are they just going through on their own journey? Yes. Amazing, guys. Okay, we are going to power down, do a beautiful meditation. I hope today's training was helpful. I've had so many questions from you guys just about like how to stay in alignment when there's so much stuff going on around you. And this is very, very close to my heart because this is something I've been working on for a really long time, and I continue to work on it every single day that I wake up in the morning. I continue to hold myself in that same light, in the same belief that the better it gets, the better it gets, right? And just because there are pit stops or little speed bumps in the road does not mean that we're not moving forward. And I think that's a huge message that's coming through, is just, just because life gives you lemons or there are hiccups, it doesn't mean that you're not progressing. It doesn't mean that you're not moving forward. And I think for so many years, I thought that to manifest my desires meant to stay or be able to hold myself in a particular vibration. But actually, now I realize that it actually is just me holding myself in my authentic self, being able to see all of me and really being able to live in all of me and being able to heal what needs to be healed and being able to shift back to that alignment. And then really, what even is alignment? Is it holding yourself to a particular vibration where everything's going great? Or is it the ability to just still be in your power, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're going through, no matter what's happening around you? I love you guys so much. So many of you are just going through huge, big leaps yourself. And many of you, I get to hold your hand, which I love. And in here, this is a safe space for you to open up and do that healing work with us as well. Next week, we are talking about money because that is what has been on the radar lately. People want to know, like, how do you hold yourself in that vibration? How do you love it? Even some people who have a lot of it still maybe afraid of it in many ways. So let's talk about our relationship with it next week. And moving on from there, we have so much juicy goodness coming over the next couple of months. So I'm so excited to be a part of this with all of you. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I will see you in the group. I'm going to post some photos of our sailing adventure. And as I said, Erin was there with us, and she was just like this beautiful angel that kind of came to scoop us up and support us as well when we were going through that as well. So isn't that one beautiful thing about really stepping in and holding yourself to that alignment, is then the people that you bring in are just freaking amazing, like really, really beautiful, amazing people. I love you guys. I will see you in the group. I'm going to post some photos of our sailing. I hope you have an amazing, amazing day. Love you. Bye.